Law 16. Use absence to increase respect and honor. Too much circulation makes the price go down. The more you are seen and heard from, the more common you appear. If you are already established in a group, temporary withdrawal from it will make you more talked about, even more admired. You must learn when to leave. Create value through scarcity. Transgression and observance of the law. So this story is about a knight and a madame of another castle falling in love, and the story behind that and how it works with this law. This knight's name, Sir de Blon, was going from castle to castle and eventually trying to, woo certain women, and he eventually met and fell in love with Madame Javik. But de Blon had a friend, and he actually fell in love with Javik as well. They both traveled together, and obviously they both fell for the same woman. But then there was some type of violent argument and fight between Bolon's friends, and so Madame Javik needed the help of Bolon, and eventually he worked his magic and they were reconciled in a matter of weeks. And his friend Pierre commented to Bolon, who helped fix their quarrel, how his love had increased so much, and he had felt no stronger love than after an argument like this. So Bolon, he was jealous. He wanted to feel like, what does this feel like for me? I want to know what this feels like. He feigned great anger with the lady Javik, stopped sending her love letters, and abruptly left the city and stayed away for all these different events, just avoiding her. And this drove her crazy. So Lady Javik sent messages to him, asking what had happened, but he turned the messages away. He thought that this would make her angry, but it in fact had the opposite effect. It made her love him all the more. So now she was sending him love notes, sending him messages all the time, trying to get him back, trying to win him back. All from an argument that wasn't in fact real, that he created and fabricated himself. Now here's the thing. This type of situation where a woman pursues a man, back then, was almost unheard of. If you guys think you had it rough now while complaining about girls not approaching you, it was 1,000 times more heavy and more extreme back hundreds of years ago. But Bolon, he didn't like this forwardness. He wasn't attracted as much to her anymore with all this. It felt like, she lost some type of dignity by almost begging for him. Eventually, months after, she gave up. She stopped sending him messages. And he began to wonder. Maybe she was angry. He began second-guessing himself in his actions. Maybe he'd planned it actually worked. So, he waited no more. He rode off to Javik. Now when he arrived, she was very excited to see him. She kissed him, begged for his forgiveness, for whatever anger she had caused him. Now, the whole time, Bolon just wanted the argument. He wanted to know what it felt like to be reconciled from an argument. But she wasn't angry with him, so he was very confused. She was only deeper in love with him. All he wanted was the experience of the joy of the reconciliation after a quarrel. That's really what he wanted, but this backfired on him and she fell deeper in love with him. So he tried one more time. He tried one more time to get what he wanted. He drove her away, cursing at her with harsh words, threatening gestures, and she left, vowing to never see him again. The next morning he regretted what he had done. He rode back to Javik, but she wouldn't receive it. She ordered the servants to chase him away. So then for the next year he was unable to see her. He ended up writing love letters from his sorrows and emotions and sent them to her. The tables ended up turning around. He ended up asking for her forgiveness. The longer the absence was created by the two of them, the more he fell in love with her. So after his persistence, it actually kind of paid off. She realized, she was reminded of all these great qualities, and she ordered him to remove his nail from his finger and send it to her with a poem describing his miseries. He did, and he finally got what he wanted, a reconciliation surpassing that even of his previous friend Pierre at the start. Interpretation. Now, it really wasn't an easy story for me to retell. I had to read it a lot and highlight a lot of areas. So please tell me if that didn't make sense, and please tell me if it did, because I want to know if my efforts are actually working. But either way, I hope it makes sense to at least a couple people. Okay, so everybody's heard the phrase, absence makes the heart grow fonder. But at the start of an affair, or the start of an event, you need to heighten your presence in the eyes of the other. If you absent yourself too early, you may be forgotten. But once your lover's emotions are engaged and the feeling of love has crystallized, absence inflames and excites. While you're away, the lover's imagination takes flight, and the stimulated imagination cannot help but make love grow stronger. And that was told in this story. The more Javik, the woman, pursued Bolon, the more accessible she'd become to him. There was no room for his imagination to roam. And when she finally stopped sending him messages, he was able to breathe again, return to his plan, and let his imagination run wild. So this is obviously this can be very heavily intertwined in love and women and men and relationships. So you can use absence to your advantage to make people miss you more, as long as you provide value. The precursor to all this is you have to provide something not many other people have. Otherwise, why will people miss you? If you're not providing some type of value, how is that other person going to miss you? You need to create something that is unique. Otherwise, you're just like everybody else. And you're not sitting at home missing everybody else. You're sitting at home missing that one person who makes you feel alive or special or whatever it is. And what about in business, in an organization? Like, people around you, the people you work for, will miss you if you offer something, a skill set of value. But if you're not there long enough to present and show that set of skills, if you're only there for a week, 2 weeks, and just leave, well, people really aren't going to miss you. It has to be known who you are and what you do and why that is greater than most of the people around you. From there, that's when your absence can be felt, and when you can flip that and use it to get things you want. What withdraws, what becomes scarce, suddenly seems to deserve our respect and honor. What stays too long, inundating us with its presence, makes us disdain it. Absence diminishes minor passions and inflames great ones, as the wind douses a candle and fans a fire. A man said, "Why do I not see you more often?" He replied, "Because the words, 'Why have you not been to see me?' are sweeter to my ear than the words, 'Why have you come again?' Because 'why have you not been to see me' implies you missed the person in some capacity. And 'why have you come again' means your presence is not celebrated. Instead, it is questioned. You don't want your presence questioned. You want your presence celebrated. So if you ever get asked either one of those questions, you can easily distinguish your place. Keys to power. The more you are seen and heard from, the more your value degrades. You become a habit. No matter how hard you try to be different, subtly, without your knowing why people respect you less and less. At the right moment, you must learn to withdraw yourself before they unconsciously push you away. The truth of this law can most easily be appreciated in matters of love and seduction. In the beginning stages of an affair, the lover's absence stimulates your imagination, forming a sort of aura around him or her. But this aura fades when you know too much, when your imagination no longer has room to roam. The loved one becomes a person like anyone else, a person whose presence is taken for granted. Love never dies of starvation, but often of indigestion. To prevent this, you need to starve the other person of your presence. Force their respect by threatening them with the possibility that they will lose you for good. Create a pattern of presence and absence. This is where law 3 and 4 can come in greatly. Conceal your intentions and always say less than necessary. Can intertwine with this to create an air of mystery. If you are absent, and adding concealing your intentions and don't tell people why you're absent, a little bit more mysterious to another individual maybe. But on the other hand, you can just piss them off. Like, I've had situations where my vagueness has simply annoyed people. But if I don't want to reveal something, I won't reveal something. and that can have a double effect on somebody, creating mystery and maybe slightly annoying them. Either way, they're going to be curious. I feel like this is a really great way to get people to respect you. If you really think you value something to them and they're taking you for granted, then absence will show that. Absence will make that evident. And it will show you if you're lying to yourself, if you're just, maybe if you're in denial. Because if you create absence with an individual or a group of people and you come back and they have not missed you, and they're like, why are you back? Well, then you realize that they didn't need you. Your value that you created wasn't real enough. It wasn't beneficial enough. Apply it to women as well. Apply it to men as well. Do you know how many artists, leaders, politicians that are celebrated so much more when they pass than compared to their life? It happens all the time. People really only get to appreciate an individual, truly appreciate them once they've passed, once their absence is forever. And the only presence that lives on is the things they have created, not their very being, but the things they have put their very being into. When you die, will people miss you? Like, ask yourself that question. Will people miss you? Will your absence be celebrated, or will it be missed? Or will people be disappointed that you're not around? Like, really, like 300 years from now, will anybody miss you? Will anybody be talking about you? I don't think really people are thinking about this, and I don't know why. Like, I get it, enjoy the present, but to have a large enough effect on the present, which I don't really understand. If you don't really want to have a large effect on the present, then maybe you're just not ambitious enough to want to change a lot. That's just not my mentality. If YouTube is still around in 10 years, and I die tomorrow, then I have immortalized myself. Because I could die tomorrow. I could die tonight. This could be the last video I ever make. But people will still hear my voice. People will still hear what I do. Will people still hear what you do? Ask yourself that question. If you died tomorrow, next week, in a year, will they remember you? Will your absence be celebrated? Or will you be forgotten? By completely withdrawing for a while, you create a kind of death before death. And when you come back, it will be as if you had come back from the dead. An air of resurrection will cling to you, and people will be relieved at your return. The sun. It can only be appreciated by its absence. The longer the days of rain, the more the sun is craved. But too many hot days in the sun overwhelms. Learn to keep yourself obscure and make people demand your return. Extend the law of scarcity to your own skills. This is what I was saying before. Make what you're offering the world rare and hard to find, and you will instantly increase its value. Reversal. This law only applies once a certain level of power has been attained. The need to withdraw only comes after you've established your presence. Leave too early, and you do not increase your respect. You are simply forgotten. Until that status is attained, absence is dangerous. Instead of feigning the flames, it will extinguish them. In love and seduction, similarly, absence is only effective once you have surrounded the other with your image. Remember, in the beginning, make yourself not scarce, but omnipresent. Only what is seen, appreciated, and loved will be missed in its absence. Law 16. Use absence to increase respect and honor.